So, good morning, everybody. We're really excited to have you here for this first of 3 trainings. I'm going to share my webcam for a second, just so you guys all know who I am. And I'll introduce myself and we'll get to know each other a little bit. Hi there. My name is Amy Gardner, and I just wanted to introduce myself. We're going to have a little Q&A period after we get over some of the particulars. You can always use the chat room in order to ask some questions, and I'll do my best to get to them all. If you could keep your questions to the topic at hand, and then if something isn't quite matching what we're talking about, bring them up again at the Q&A. I would really appreciate that because we have about 32 people here right now. And so I'm imagining your questions are going to be many. So I'm going to take myself off the screen and say goodbye so that you can see the images that I'm going to share about the program. So hold on just a second. It's going to take a second to show my screen. Here we are. So, which one?
This one.
That's the camera.
Yeah. Do you want to?
Okay. So anyways, we're going to start today by talking a little bit about what we're doing over these 3 days together. If you can't join all the sessions, that's fine. We're going to be recording each and every one, and so we're going to make them available to you afterwards. We're excited to have both mentors and coaches here today, and people have registered from all over the place. If you want to use the chat room and just say where you are joining from, it's kind of nice to get to know each other a little bit. So feel free to do that right now. San Francisco, St. Charles, Illinois, Menlo Park, close by, New York. Wow, Cambridge, Brunswick, Moldova, Saratoga, Germany, Boston, Philadelphia, Chicago. Wow, we're just as international as all the students who are going to be taking part. So that's pretty exciting. What we're going to be doing today is talking about basically an overview of the program and your roles as coaches and mentors. Tomorrow, we get to do some exciting stuff about student behaviors and how to be an effective mentor or coach, and also talk a little bit about what the deliverables are for the students you're working with. What are the qualities of some presentations and demos and apps that have made it on to semifinals and finals. And then we're going to also look at ones that maybe weren't so complete. And we'll talk about how you can give feedback to your students to make them work a little bit more efficiently. And then finally, on the last day, we'll give you guys a short overview of App Inventor and talk about next steps and the communities that you can join. And I'm lucky right now to have the person here working with mentors as well. My name's Amy, and I work with the coaches. And I am a Technovation program director. And I just want to let you guys say hello to Allie over here, who's next to me, who's working with the mentor community. So we realize that these roles are slightly different and that you might have specific questions as we move forward. So all the coaches, I'll give you my email address at the end, or you have it already. All the mentors should definitely direct your questions to Allie. But I just wanted to let her say hi because she plays such a huge part in the program, and she's absolutely fun to work with. So enough about me. I thought we would do a little poll to see who here is a mentor. Oh, I wanted to know who here has participated in the Technovation program before and who may not have, just so we have a little bit of information about you guys. So I'm launching a poll. And you can select one of the following, yes or no. If there's anybody who doesn't fit into one of these categories squarely, you can just let us know in the chat room. Ooh, I also see people from Austin and Tunisia. This is really exciting. Okay, so right now we have 90% people who say they have not participated in the program before, which is great, and we're glad you're here, and 10% yes. So I'm wondering if those who have could write your names or the year that you participated in the chat room, just so we know who you are. we might even call upon you if you're willing to help answer some questions from some of the people who haven't done this before, because you have some information that I'm sure they'd love to know. Ah, France, good afternoon. It's exciting to see you guys. Okay, so good to know. Um, So, what we're going to be doing today, as we mentioned, we're going to give you a slight overview of the program so that you have a more thorough understanding. Because we have a website where there's a lot of great information, but we realize that sometimes you have questions about those. So, that's what we're here to do today. And we're also going to talk about how you can better understand the mentor and coach role and expectations for you so you know what to expect on the horizon. And then we'll point you in the direction of where you can find resources on our website so that you can be as successful as possible. So I'm wondering if you can now answer poll number 2, which is how many of you are mentors and how many of you are coaches? So let me go to the next poll and launch it for you. So let's see, how many mentors got up early this morning or how many coaches to join us here today? Right now we've got, wow. Oh, it's about half and half. It's always interesting to me. It's like flipping a coin. There's always a good balance somehow. So excellent. All right, I'm just going to close that poll now because we have a better idea of who we are, which is great. Let me find my presentation again. My screen is a little bit frozen. Where'd it go? Hold on.
You can see it.
Oh, you can? Okay. Okay, so you guys are seeing that screen. Can you wait? Hold on just a second, folks. My screen has frozen a little bit. So, okay, I'm back. So let's jump into questions about Technovation. And we have a little video. I'm not sure if all of you have seen it yet, but a movie called Code Girl came out. And it's all about the Technovation program. And a woman named Leslie Chilcott produced it. And she has done the movie Waiting for Superman and An Inconvenient Truth. So have you guys seen this film? Interesting. Okay. I'm just going to let it roll for about a few minutes so that you have a nice overview of both Code Girl and what the program is about. This is part of the bonus material that comes with the video.
Technovation Challenge is a mobile app competition for girls in middle school and high school, and the prompt is to solve an issue in your community by building a mobile app.
You take something that you thought you couldn't do and you realize, like, I just had to work at it. I have this support system and I can do it and I can really affect a change in my environment. The initial chunk is really about.
Okay, I just saw that that the video has not launched. So I'm going to bypass that for now. And I will send you guys a link to where that can be found after. It's a really nice overview of the program, but we're going to be talking about that as well. So I will fix that glitch and move on. So the mission of Technovation is to inspire girls to solve problems. Oh, you're seeing the objective slide? Sorry. Yes. So this doesn't seem to be syncing.
You want to unshare and then share again?
Yeah. Let me just unshare the video and share again. So hold on a second. Here. Okay, hold on just a second. I thank you for your patience as I do this. So, okay. Here we go. Let's see if we can jumpstart this again. We're at the video. Okay, now I think we can show it. So let me try again. Hold on.
Technovation Challenge is a mobile app competition for girls in middle school and high school, and the prompt is to solve an issue in your community by building a mobile app.
You take something that you thought you couldn't do and you realize, like, I just had to work at it. I have this support system and I can do it and I can really affect a change in my environment. The initial chunk is really about brainstorming, paper prototyping, figuring out how big of a problem this is, doing the market research, seeing who your competitors are, and then sort of narrowing down all the features that you want in this amazing solution to something that you can actually build and prototype.
They get the basics of App Inventor to kind of get them rolling on the coding, and so that they can learn the platform and how they would actually build a prototype to begin with.
Using a block-based language, it's very visual, it's very friendly. They call it low walls, so it's easy and accessible for anyone to jump over, and very high ceilings, so you can code anything.
We have some students that submit iOS apps or some students who actually program in Java for their Android apps. And all of this is based on going out into the community and getting feedback from people and seeing if what you're identifying is actually coinciding with what the rest of the community thinks.
Towards the end, you have a very nice business plan, you have a working prototype, and then you have to do a pitch and videotape it, and then you submit all of these for judging. First, is it really going to change the world? Second, does the app work? That's the technical side of it. And third, will it make money? I would say every girl in middle school and junior high should know how to solve a problem using technology. Technovation now is the world's largest technology entrepreneurship program for girls. There's no other global program that's bringing girls into technology and entrepreneurship in a cohesive way as we are.
Okay, so that's one of the extras from the documentary. Yes, I'm sorry that some of you couldn't hear the sound. I will work on that for the next session, so I really appreciate your feedback. You can see the quality of this video is really good, and I totally suggest that if you're working with a team that you kick off your season by showing this to them if you haven't already or if they haven't seen it. I also have a discussion guide for it that I can share with you after. So briefly about the mission, we're here to inspire girls to help solve problems in their communities with technology, and in this case, specifically a mobile app. This is really exciting because the market for app developers is really broadening and widening in the next few years, and we're hoping to give girls the confidence they need by taking part in this program to both think about careers they might be interested in, think about having them look at their environment and seeing what kind of problems there are to be solved and how they can take part in that. So based on the submissions that we had last year and all the participants from around the world, I think one of the most exciting features of this program is its international aspect and learning what problems are all around the world. There's lots of key celebration points which make the program fun. The curriculum is there for you, and we'll talk about that. But after students submit their deliverables on April 21st, which is the final deadline, there's all these different events. So there can be regional sort of pitch events. There you see pictures of people celebrating, and it truly is a celebration once they accomplish all these things. And then there's also an event in San Francisco that takes place for those who have made it to the finals and even those who may not have, who just happen to be in the area or who want to come. And the week is full of workshops and celebration and also the pitches of the teams who have made it to that point. So it's pretty neat. Last year in 2015, the prize winners of the challenge was at the middle school division. The middle school division, believe it or not, met the Prime Minister of India, which was totally amazing in my opinion. And if you watch Code Girl, you'll see that some of the teams, or one of the teams from Massachusetts, went to the State House that year and talked with politicians. So it's a really great civic activity to do. And if you can connect your teams to your local politicians or people like that, they are always interested to hear what girls are doing in the field of technology because they want to be as proud as we are of what they do. And also, as I mentioned, Code Girls here. So the parts of the program that I think are really unique and interesting, because there's lots of programs that have students learning how to code for maybe an hour, for maybe a day. This is actually a 3-month program with 12 units. And in this program, not only do they identify a problem in their community, they think about what a possible mobile app solution would be, whether or not it's, a useful sort of solution to that problem. And then they build a business plan. So they get into the entrepreneur side of things, which is really good. Um, this really gives girls a lot of confidence because if you think back to when you were in school, me being a girl myself, no one had ever talked about business with me. I had never seen female kind of role models working in science fields. Now we have a lot more opportunity, and a lot of you are women, I'm sure, to show these girls what it's like to actually work in a business, talk to them, translate what they're learning in school into a real world solution to a problem, and then also communicate this idea. So we have them create pitches and demo videos. So they need to use 21st century skills to really convey their ideas that they're developing. I see some questions there. The final competition, I think for those of you in France will be excited to know that the final day is Bastille Day, which I think is kind of great. And yeah, we're doing events, not just the pitch, but other things around it, which is why it's a 4-day sort of event. So we're going to now talk about participant roles. And, oh, I see a question. Okay, it's a private question, so we'll take that offline after. And Allie can also help answer questions in the chat room. So you guys here today fall either into the coach category or the mentor category. And we're going to talk a little bit about what that means. You see a picture here. It must have been a scene filming from Code Girl, where there's a coach and some girls and a mentor. And if possible, we like to have teams have one of each because the coaches and mentors have unique things to offer the teams. The coaches here, if you look a little closer, the expectation is that the girls, the teams are all really creating all of the deliverables. We don't really want to be seeing situations where it seems like, other people have done the work for them because the whole idea is for them to do the work. But you guys are there in support capacities. So the coaches, as you see, recruit girls. They help recruit. In the past, the role has evolved, and a lot of people who are in this role were teachers to begin with, but we realize that a lot of educators exist out there. And so a lot of after-school programs might want to be doing this. You guys can really help provide them with a space to meet and give them some consistency. It's a really intensive program, and the more you can be consistent for them and offer them safe spaces to meet and to convene and ask you questions, you can also help them get access to the things they'll need when they're in the program, like laptops. When you're getting towards the end and you're using App Inventor in most cases, I'm guessing, it's okay to use the emulator on the laptop. This is all based in the cloud, but you're going to want some Android devices to help them actually test out the app in real time. So thanks for answering the questions. Also to help supervise them, there's middle school and high school divisions, and the younger the students are, the more supervision and guidance they're probably going to need. So you're the adult on the scene, helping them, problem solve, and you don't have to have all the answers, and you don't have to have extreme technological expertise in the beginning, but you do need to be willing to kind of sit with them and problem solve as problems occur, and also know how to say, I don't know the answer to that question, but here's how we could find out. So helping them keep focused and on track. Next time we meet, I'm going to share with you a tracking spreadsheet that some of the mentors and coaches said was really useful to them. So we do have resources for you to use to help you keep them on track. If you look at the mentor role, what we're hoping is that mentors are females typically who work in the tech industry, who can give the girls an inside knowledge of what it's like to work at a tech company. Also, to help provide an open door to a potential office visit or a field trip to your office so they can see what the work environment is like. And you're also providing guidance. Some of these roles might overlap a little bit in this respect with the mentors and coaches. You're going to want to encourage participation and perseverance and help them connect to resources that you, as an expert in your field, will understand how to access. If there's a certain framework you guys have as your tech workers in the industry of how a business plan is made, by all means, share that resource with your students and your teams. Some teams have more than one mentor. If you, as a coach, feel like you know a lot about entrepreneurship or business, but you don't have as much technical expertise, my suggestion to you is to reach out to a mentor who has that sort of expertise. And I'll go into how to find these people through our platform in just a minute. I see a question, is there a specific programming language? Right now, we've been working a lot with App Inventor, and if the students especially don't know a lot about programming, App Inventor is a really good platform to use because it's kind of like Scratch, which is a drag and drop visual kind of block language. So that's one thing. Some teams have submitted in Java, some have submitted in Swift, which is the Apple iOS. So you're not limited to App Inventor by all means, but App Inventor is probably the first one you're going to want to try if you don't have a high level of technical expertise with the students. So another point I should mention is the curriculum is 12 units. And so some of the girls or teams might need help interpreting that curriculum. And that's what a coach is there to do, essentially. So just speaking from past experience, we've had some focus groups here. We've gathered data over the past 4 or 5 years because the program has existed since 2010. At Technovation, 46% of college alumni who took part intend to major in computer science. On the national average, only 0.4% of female college freshmen intend to major in computer science when they go in. So you can see that the program has had profound effects on alumni in the program. 70% of alumni took further computer science classes when given the opportunity. So those are really positive outcomes, and we're hoping that your students have similar outcomes. There's even been a lot of success on the part of alumni. One of them was featured in the New York Times. You'll see the girl in the middle. She participated in one of the first few years. I'm not sure which one, but we have seen some success stories from people who actually took part, and we're building our alumni sort of experience. So we want you guys to see Technovation not just as a competition with one endpoint, but really a kind of holistic approach to learning technology and all the things that go with that in entrepreneurism, so that girls are more confident in whatever role they step into after. Should the product, I see a question, should the product be a mobile app or a web app? It should be a mobile app. We're developing mobile apps. That's the real end goal here in terms of technology. So one question you're going to want to ask the students you're working with as you see them going along in the program is your solution suitable for a mobile app versus, say, a service or other things like that, or a website? Because we do have a judging criteria, which we'll get to, and a lot of those judging criteria relate to how relevant the mobile app is to the problem that they're solving. Are we focusing on making apps that will be really used afterwards or just for educational purposes? That's a really good question, Nicoletta. I think that you're going to want to help guide them to making apps that will really be used, because one of the points is they can get points on the rubric, or they get points in the real world by launching their app in either the App Play Store or the Apple version of that, whichever platform they used. So yes, it is for an educational purpose, but the intention is for them to actually launch their app and learn how the financial side of things actually work. We don't by all means want them to be, creating startups and taking gigantic risks, but we want them to understand what would be involved should they get into a situation like that, and to know that it's not easy to just create an app, but you have to have some sort of plan to make it viable. So that is part of the learning process. Lauren asks, does a list exist that includes all previous apps created? On our platform, we have a whole sort of app um, gallery. Sorry. We have an app gallery on our platform, so you can, once you're registered as a coach or a mentor, look and see what was submitted. Also, if you go to the Code Girl movie website, you can see a gallery of some of the apps that are discussed in the movie. Tomorrow, we're going to show you some examples of some apps that were created so that you have an idea of what a fully fleshed app looks like, along with the other deliverables. And you can see an example of one that was not quite complete, so that you understand the difference between a complete submission here. Yes, thanks for putting the CodeGirlMovie.com website on. So back to the skills. Right now we're talking about mentors, but coaches develop skills too. In particular, the mentors have reported back that they felt they had refreshed their technical skills. So a high percentage, 58% of them did in the past. Even more of them thought they increased their knowledge about entrepreneurship. So wherever you are in your career, there's still opportunities for you to also personally develop. 70% of them learned how to be an effective mentor. And 73% agreed that expanded their professional opportunities. So not only are you helping them, but I think it's a really great idea to participate as a mentor or a coach, I should add, because it increases your skills in project-based learning, design thinking, all of these things that really keep you still interested in your professional development. So, getting started. Have you all registered for your role as a coach or a mentor yet? I'm hoping you say yes. You can raise your hand if you did. There's a little hand in the on your screens that you should be able to click that helps you raise your hand. So, 18 out of 64, 22. Will the number go up? Okay, so you're still voting. I see you're coming back to us. Okay, so it seems like about half of you have registered at this point. And I'd like for you, after we get through this training today, if possible, to carve out a little time for yourself today to register yourself as a mentor or a coach at my.technovationchallenge.org. You're going to have a profile that you can fill out, and the more information, we haven't registered the girls yet because they can't be reached on holiday. Okay, so some of you are not in session at school right now. That's fine. I would just do this as soon as possible upon re-entry into school. So what you're going to do is we would love for you to create a profile with a picture of yourself and a few words about your interest in Technovation, some tidbits about you and what your expertise is. And then you're also going to need to submit a consent form and a background check. And we also have a pre-programmed survey that we'd love for you to fill out so that we can better serve you throughout the season. Okay. Pair up. This is especially for mentors. If you feel like you lack expertise in one area and you're really great at other areas, please feel free to help, to reach out to other mentors. There is a Find a Mentor button if you're a coach or a student, definitely. So you guys can connect with each other on our platform and find out. Usually the way it works is that if a student clicks the Find a Mentor or coach button, it will locate someone in their geographical proximity. So that's something to consider. Always answering some questions on the side, so thank you. Connecting with the team. So teams reach out to you guys through the platform, and that's how we would primarily like things to go. If you're having a hard time with that, you can always email either Allie or myself through our email, or if you can do this through the platform, that's great. So find a mentor or a coach tab is to the top right if you're signed in. Some questions, some housekeeping you're going to want to go through with your students, and key questions are to the right here are what days and times are you guys going to meet? Where are you going to meet? Would I join you in person or online? So you can take advantage of all that Google Hangout or some other video conferencing has to offer. And does your team have a coach? So coaches, I think it would be great if you help make sure that each team has some mentors, because one of the great features of this program is that we do connect students to mentors. They're getting that real world experience. If you're still trying to find a team, that can still happen. Here's some suggestions. You can have, if you have a daughter and she has friends, you could help, inspire them to want to join and show them Code Girl. You could ask a local school about getting a team started. You could go to after school places like the Boys and Girls Club, stuff like that. Or go make a flyer. We have some flyers that we could email you that you could put up at your library or community center, or you could host your own workshop. Right now, there's a lot going on with Girls Make Apps workshops. So you can always email us as well to see if there's one going on in your area, because those are also great opportunities for you guys to connect with each other in person and also learn a few things along the way. So setting a weekly time. So I would say the curriculum is supposed to be about 50 hours total, but that could go up or down depending on where the students are. If they've already taken part in a Girls Make Apps workshop, they might have already brainstormed. They might have a really good idea about where they're at and what they need to start. If your group starts later than the end of January, then you're going to have to pedal pretty quickly to catch up, because the submission deadline is April 21st. So in the past, we've known that 2-hour sessions, two 2-hour sessions can work for some teams. Or if they can only meet on the weekends, you might consider one 4-hour session. So also the division of labor is interesting. So there's coding side of things, there's a business side of things. The way we have it set up, the coding and the stuff like that takes place somewhat concurrently with the business side of things. You might notice that some girls really gravitate towards coding and some really gravitate towards communications or other skills. We would really love to encourage paired coding. So we'll get into that with App Inventor a little bit, but I just wanted you guys to know what you might expect. And in some points towards the end, towards the submission deadline, it might be a little bit more intensive at that time. So just keep all these things in mind. And also, if you have connectivity issues, you're going to want to think about possibly submitting a little bit in advance of that deadline. So spaces that I've worked before have been schools, community spaces, cafes, someone's home, whatever feels comfortable for the group. But I don't think we can stress enough how important it is to be there as consistently as possible so that the girls know that they can rely on you guys and trust you. Because even if they might seem very mature, they still need help sometimes. So also be sure it has internet connectivity. Question here from Chunarong is, should mentors be in the same physical location as the team, or can we be remote? I would say if it works for your team and they don't mind meeting you in a Google Hangout or Skype or however you like to do that, that's totally fine. I would say if you can bring them into your workplace for a field trip so they know you face to face first, that's a great first step. So, I mean, what to me, some of the less satisfying aspects of a virtual relationship is that humans crave, one-on-one contact at certain points. And so if you are virtual, I would suggest trying to meet up face to face with the team at least a couple of times, at least in the beginning and the end. And then virtually, if that works out well, that's totally great. Um, so, yes. Register your team and get started. So, yeah, half of you seem to have registered. If you guys could register by tomorrow or as soon as possible when your school gets back in session, that would be fantastic. You form teams by using My Teams tab at the top of the page. This is mostly for students. We want students to be creating teams. So someone might reach out to you and say, I don't have a team. And they can also do that by finding people in their areas through the platform. If not, they can always reach out to me or Allie and see what we can do to help. One team member forms a team, and then members can search for the team in the gallery. So if you log in, you'll see that that there are teams that you can search. So we'll go over that a little more. I am curious, Melissa. Are most of the folks on this call teachers or otherwise associated with the school? So let me see if I can do a quick poll. Hold on just a second. I'm doing a new poll. So if you are a coach, are you a teacher at a school? Yes, no. Okay, hold on. Here's the poll. So if you are a mentor and you're a school teacher or associated one, can you please vote? I like the polling feature. Okay, so 25% said yes and 76%, 75% said no. And can keep in mind that this is half of the people here. So I'd say about 30 of you are teachers. Some work with Parks and Rec. Oops. Okay. Where else are you guys from? I mean, the interesting thing is you may be an educator at a museum, a park and rec, other things. Oops, hold on a second. I'm going back to my... It's funny, whenever I launch a poll, this screen happens. So, okay. So do you have any questions related to being associated with a school?
Someone's asking about being a mentor and a coach.
Oh, okay. I want to register as both a mentor or a coach. Is it possible to register as both?
I don't think it's necessary.
Yeah, we're not sure if it's possible to actually register for both, but it's probably not necessary. I would say if you're on the fence, in your particular case, are you working in the tech industry or are you an educator? Let me just go back to chat. I'm a data and a tech professional. So Nithya was the one who asked that. Nithya, can you write in the chat room whether you are a teacher or a sort of tech worker? We might want to take some of that conversation offline, but I would just say in general that we have more mentors registered than coaches right now. And if it seems like there's a lot of students in your area that are still looking for a coach, it would be great from my perspective if you could register as a coach. The important thing is to really be consistent with your team, regardless of whether you're a mentor or a coach. If you feel that you're in a position to help interpret the curriculum, then yes, please be a coach. Okay, so the season starts pretty much now with training, and we would love for the teams to begin meeting as soon as possible so that you have a little bit more than 3 months to actually work on this project. Realistically, it's a 50-hour curriculum. As I mentioned before, it can go a little bit longer or shorter, depending on how self-motivated the students in your group are. So that's one important consideration. And the drop dead deadline is April 21st at 5 p.m. our time in California. So please do keep that in mind if you're in another time zone that these deliverables are due in our time zone at that time. I would just try to get the deliverables in at least a day or two early, and that's something to keep in mind. So, as I mentioned before, after students submit, there's regional pitch events and judging in April, from about April to early May. And these are pretty formal. In some regions, they've been working a long time, and there's regional ambassadors, and there's really fantastic regional pitches. I would say do what you can to make sure that your area has at least a face-to-face final meeting if you're working virtually a lot, because it's really important to wrap up this very challenging curriculum with some debrief with your team and to talk about what went well, what didn't, stuff like that. You can also do it more informally and have a pitch party with your team just to show them that you still care about them, because some of the feedback we got was, this was a really intensive curriculum, and then they submitted, and then, we fell into a kind of vacuum. So we really want the students to feel like it's not just a competition and it's done, and they get sad after if they don't make it to the semifinals. We want them to know that they still created something for their community and that they matter in their community and to you. So there will be virtual judging for those without an official regional pitch. And we have someone on our team who works with the regional ambassadors. Her name's Madhvi. So if you ever need to get in touch with her about something you think is regional, please do reach out to me and let me know. Melissa asked, do they do all 50 hours on their own time, or do they have time in class? This is a great question, and me being a curriculum person on the team, realize that there's times that you're going to definitely want to meet face to face and go over housekeeping with the girls, make sure they're on track and on time. But there are definitely things that they can do outside of your meeting time with them, like watching additional videos, giving themselves time as a team to think and sit and work together and, problem solve and debug things if there's bugs in their apps, stuff like that. So I would say, at least half of the 50 hours should probably be like face to face with each other. And then the other times they can be expected to work on their own. Amy says, my girls are meeting on their lunch 2 days a week with me and meeting on their own once a week. That's a great way to set it up. You're going to want to structure a little bit of flexibility depending on what's going on. But I would say plan on meeting face to face at least once a week when you can. And we have lots of tools. And I just wanted to show you a little bit about our website because there's a lot of information on there. And I want you to know that there are resources for you. So with that in mind, the curriculum is all online. Right now we're revamping it slightly, and the content is going to be pretty much exactly the same, but we're going to have additional little goodies in there for you, like videos and stuff like that. And the units are pretty clickable and easily distinguishable. You'll see Unit 1's the intro, so you're going to want to do some icebreakers with them probably. Defining the issue is really important, and for some teams that takes a little bit of extra time to actually sit down and brainstorm, because if they don't start off on a really good leg and their issue is really broad, say they want to solve an environmental problem, if you're working with middle schoolers, you'll find that their issue is usually pretty broad. You're going to want to work with them to narrow that down a little bit. So, good. We're also seeing, people are submitting their ideas in the chat room about how and when they want to meet. So that's great. Brainstorming, I can't say is enough that it's pretty important. So if you're having some issues with brainstorming in this part of the whole curriculum, please join a mentor or educator group about this, because we can help you guys figure out ways to brainstorm with your teams. Allie and I have created Google groups for all you guys, for both mentors and coaches. And this is probably the best spot for you guys to be asking each other questions. We want you also to be resources for yourselves. Then just going down quickly, Unit 5 is competitive analysis. So it's really important that girls be innovative in this program, that they're not reinventing a wheel that's already there, like Fitbit, or, there's actually suggestions in that unit on how to understand, how to research and find out whether something already exists. And Unit 4, to jump back a little, is all about the user. So helping them think about their user will also help them narrow down what their app does, and that's really great. Simple features can be really excellent. It doesn't have to do a million things. So there's information in those units about all that. Unit 6 gets into branding and promotion, which is really important, not just as a catchword, but creating a sort of logo and a look and feel is really important. And I'm sure there's lots of mentors out there who have design expertise. So you might want to look for somebody at that point who can do that. And then also Unit 7, we're getting into the money there. How does the app sustain itself? How does it generate revenue for itself so that it can keep going? It's really important to convey the girls that it has to be based in reality. So looking at that unit, that's really important. And you're probably going to want to find a mentor who has some business expertise at that point, if you can, or someone you know. We'll also have some suggestions there on what more to follow up with. Finally, you'll see that a lot of the final units have to do a lot with the communicating of the ideas. So pitch guidelines, demo guidelines, user feedback. This is all part of the engineering design process. So even if they do design an app, they still need to test it at various points to make sure that it serves the user's needs. So that's an iterative process that they're going to want to keep doing. And video editing. A lot of students have this skill already, so we're going to have suggestions at that point, but I'm pretty sure that a lot of you are not going to come into a lot of problems with actually generating a video. So, well, I'll be meeting once a week or so as coaches anyway, to talk about where you guys are in the curriculum and what extra troubleshooting you guys need. So be sure to please join the Google group. I can send out info after that. Do we have any questions about the curriculum? Because it's pretty deep. We don't have a lot of time to get into a lot of details right now, because I just want to show you some resources before we sign off for today and talk about what we need to do for the next session. But all of the curriculum is online. I suggest that you look at it very intensely before you actually meet with your group the first time, so that you can answer any questions they have about what's expected of them. So if you go to our website, we also have old PowerPoint slides that you can use with your students. If you really want to have a very structured meeting, it would be great if you could look at these, print them out. You'll also see that there's a student workbook to the right, and there's also a coach and mentor workbook. And if you look at the materials for the class, you can download this workbook, and I uploaded that to here. So having the workbooks ready to go, maybe even printing them out for the students when you first meet, would be really helpful. And there's also App Inventor tutorials and additional resources. So the official rules, mostly, it's pretty straightforward, actually. Create an app that solves a community problem or issue. That's what the theme for 2016 is. Deliverables are straightforward as well. So Once they create the app, they need to submit the app source code. They need to upload a 4-minute video pitch, and we'll show you examples of these tomorrow, and also where to find them on the platform, and a demo video. The difference between the demo and the video pitch is that the demo actually shows how the app works. So you're going to want a camera trained on a phone and just have someone show how it's used. And we'll show you a great example of that tomorrow. The pitch is really persuasive. So you might want to have them create a kind of sketch or a skit or something to demonstrate, what the problem is. We want to know what their passions are and why the problem is so important. So they have to really be persuasive here. And they have to submit a business plan, a team photo, a 100-word app description, and then a post survey. And this can all be done on our platform, and the students submit that. So that's important to know that the submissions are done through the students. We also have a judging rubric, which I've uploaded to the materials. You can get all of these things on our website, but I put them here for your ease. So we have a rubric that you should probably be looking at also in conjunction with the workbooks to let them know what the expectations are and how their deliverables will be judged. So part of the points for this have to do with ideation. So is the idea a good one? Does it actually bring up a problem that is worth solving with a mobile app? The second part of that is the technical aspect. So does the app solve the problem? What are the features? Are the features useful? The business plan also has a sizable amount of weight to it. So is this viable? Can the app sustain itself? And then there's a subjective score, and this is based a lot about the power of their persuasion as a group. If you see Code Girl, you'll see what really goes into a very powerful presentation. The team that won was from Nigeria last year, and they were incredible. Code Girl is so great to watch in so many ways because it shows the trials and tribulations of the teams, but it also shows where some of the presentations might have fallen a little flat and why this team rose to the top and won. So bonus points for also launching the app in the store. So that is what all is involved with that. The judging rubric is something you may want to refer to back and forth with them a few times. So at different points in the curriculum, because if you see that they're falling short in some respects or excelling in others, you're going to want to help them fill in those gaps for them. And then there's just a whole bunch of other resources on this slide here. The resources include a lot of App Inventor sort of tutorials, recruiting tips. The recruiting tips probably aren't as necessary at this point because a lot of teams are formed, but you can really help us out a lot by helping make sure your team is complete and that they're all registered. And the field trip is probably the most fun part for everybody as you're getting to know each other. Hello, mentors out there, half of you right now. Try and think of a good time that you could bring your team to your office. And it doesn't have to be in person, it could be virtually. It's still always exciting for students to see where you are. So that's what I have to say on that front. Are there any questions right now? We have about 5 minutes left, and I wanted to make sure that I had your general questions about the program answered. We can always continue our conversation offline after this, but now is your chance. Question from Sonica. How can the girls work on one app in App Inventor since it requires a login ID and wouldn't want them to step on each other's toe? This was asked a lot last weekend at a Girls Make App workshop. One of the solutions that the girls said they did was they created one account and they shared their password for it. So two people could be working together side by side on one laptop and they would log in and work together. And I completely endorse paired programming because they can look at each other's bugs and see what, if someone didn't enter something properly. even in history, women have always paired up together to do programming, and I think it's still a great way to go. Even if one girl on the team is all gung ho about coding, try to get another girl on the team to also code with her and to share that password. Um, Stepping on each other's toes. Well, you know, sometimes there's someone on the team that is really forceful, and you guys, as coaches and mentors, should definitely keep an eye on that and help make sure that all the girls on the team get a voice on what they're doing. It's really important. Have you ever, I mean, I'm sure all of us have worked on teams where one person just totally took over, and we all know how that feels. So helping them work together and figure out methods to work together peaceably is really great. Aubrey says, I work for MIT. You can share an account. Oh, thank you, Aubrey. Email the AIA file around, then re-upload into your own account or use the gallery to share. Oh, man, thanks, Aubrey. That's awesome. I'm going to cut that and paste it and put it in our App Inventor resource that we're going to create. How much time do mentors typically spend with the team each week? I'd say that varies, but we can say for sure that 2 hours a week would be really great if you could do that. The coaches may need to spend a little more time as an overall support person for their group. The mentors, you guys are like ninjas. You're coming in there with specific knowledge and you're helping them also with some of the emotional aspects of teamwork, because you know what it's like to work on a tech project and you know what kind of stressors can come up. So before you guys all go, I wanted to just go over some of the things we're going to do tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be really fun. And tonight there's a few things I'd love for you to do. If you look in the materials section, you'll see that I have posted the Beloit 2019 mindset list. So if you could look at this, you're going to see some cool cultural touchstones of what students who would be graduating from college in 2019, so they're in high school now, what their life is like, what their relationship to technology is like. And I'd like for you to also dig up an old photo of yourself just for your own purposes. There's one of me there showing me with the technology from guess what year? 1986. So thinking about your relationship to technology when you were growing up, thinking about what the world view is of the students you're working with and some of those differences. Also thinking back in time to a coach or a mentor you had in your life, someone who made a big difference to you. Think about what the positive qualities are of a mentor or a coach, because we're going to be talking about all this stuff tomorrow. You can also think about negative examples because you want to know what does not make a good coach so that you don't make those mistakes yourself when you're working with your students. Activities. So you'll also see in the materials a look at middle and high school development guides. So we're going to be looking at, I know in the US we talk about middle school, that's about 10 to 14 years old. So think about what the corresponding thing would be in your country. And then high school is about 15 to 18 years old or so. And then there's one really fun exercise I want you to do, and it's called Upgoer 5. And we did this at work, and it was really challenging. So the goal of this is to describe what you do at your job and use only the 1,000 most popular words in the English language. So I'm sorry for those whose first language is not English. You can still try it anyway because it's really fun. But this will help you figure out a kind of mindset and a way to discuss what you do in a very simple way with your students. And it's harder than you think, and it's really fun. So with that, I will email a thank you and another link to these resources, and I'll give you a heads up about what we're going to talk about tomorrow. So I'm going to say thank you now, and I'm going to let Ellie say goodbye too.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
We're happy that you joined us, and we'll see you tomorrow at the same time. Bye-bye.